This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. Elvis, The Army Years Uncovered by Trina Young. Introduction. I would like to write a book about my Army experience. Elvis Presley. The world got all shook up when the king of rock and roll had to put his career on hold to serve 2 years in the U.S. Army. From March 1958 to March 1960, Elvis Presley's movie career was forcibly stalled, and so was his recording career. As a result, with Elvis out of show business at the height of his fame, history over the years has disregarded these 2 years in Presley's life as mostly uneventful. On the contrary, the 24 months that Elvis spent in the Army would alter the star's life in so many ways. As friend Jerry Schilling put it, he, Elvis, went in as James Dean and came out as John Wayne. But that is much too simple a statement to summarize those 2 life-changing years which would redefine, reshape, and revamp the life and career of Elvis Aaron Presley. While behind the scenes, Elvis thought being drafted was the worst thing that could have happened to him. In some ways, it turned out to be the best. Therefore, it is not surprising that even with the unprecedented amount of news coverage Presley got during these 2 years, Elvis himself still felt that he had much more to say about his experience as a soldier. Upon his release in March 1960, Elvis told reporters that he wanted to write a book about it someday. Unfortunately, Elvis never wrote his book, but we wish he had. Because, in truth, the American press did not know about everything that went on with Elvis in Germany. Not every story and tidbit about Elvis made it back to the States, leaving many details undocumented. That is why Presley's time as a soldier appears to be the most exciting and yet most mysterious period during the King of Rock and Roll's life and career. Most Elvis fans know the superficial story of Presley's Army years, the public relations version. But with hindsight, and over 60 years of accumulating eyewitness accounts, it is now time to go behind the scenes in the life of the most famous U.S. Army soldier of all time. A journey into the life of Private Presley, who rose to the rank of sergeant, includes the stories of many women, nightclubs, strippers, death rumors, secret concerts, and fan encounters, to name a few. Many biographical accounts of Presley's life seem to quickly skim through the Army years. These narratives unknowingly omit captivating stories about Elvis, ranging from the most raucous to the most warm-hearted. In Elvis, The Army Years Uncovered, many aspects of Presley's time in the Army that were never reported or never made it into the history books are now revealed. Fascinating untold stories have been coming out over the years involving the highs and lows Presley experienced as a soldier away from the public eye. A more frightening episode that was kept from the press was the fact that Elvis almost died during maneuvers. While scouting an area one night in Germany in their Jeep, Elvis and his sergeant pulled over onto the side of the road to sleep. Elvis kept the engine running with the heater on since it was so cold. Presley and his sergeant pulled their ponchos over their heads to keep the cold wind off them, and then they both fell asleep. However, as the gas fumes from the Jeep started creeping under the ponchos, both Elvis and his sergeant became unconscious. "The next thing I knew, the wind blew one corner of my poncho away from my face," Elvis told Army buddy Charlie Hodge. "The fresh air woke me up some. I was too sick and weak to even raise my hands. So I tried to tilt myself over and just fall out of the Jeep. I fell face down in the snow and got sick all over the place." Elvis was showing signs of carbon monoxide poisoning. If Elvis had not regained consciousness, he and his sergeant most likely would have died from the poisonous carbon monoxide fumes. Imagine the king of rock and roll dying so senselessly in a stroke of bad luck. While Elvis and the sergeant were lying there unconscious, a really strong wind came and blew the tarp off the Jeep, explained Presley's friend Joe Esposito. "That's what saved their lives."
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.